Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am fine. I hope you will also be fine all. Now, today the topic is discussed process of researching, organizing, and composing of a written report. And today is the lecture number 10 of BBA semester 4. Business communication. So today's subject is a very relevant of a writing process. So there are three important steps which are required to write any kind of the report. So the first process is that which is generally known as the researching. So research involves or identifying, locating, assigning and analyzing the information you need to support your research questions, and then developing and expressing the ideas. There are some important steps which are required to research process. So first of all, identification and development of the topic. You must know very accurately and also identify the topic on which you are also going to make a research, and then you make an extreme effort to develop a such kind of the process under the specific circumstances. And number two, find background information about the topic. It is a basic rule of the writing. Before writing something, you must be well aware about the perspective of any kind of the topic, because the perspective can also provide you a lot of the knowledge and detail which can be discussed according to the requirement of the situation. So the knowledge about the background is a fundamental rule to write or to make a research of any kind of the topic. Now number three, use different sources of the information such as media, books, and all kind of the sources through which you can also collect a lot of the information in the support of your topic. So it means that for the satiation of the knowledge, you must collect all kind of the relevant information where possible sources are available. There is no any kind of the limitation of the written sources, but you can also seek visual ads. You can also take the spot from the media and also all kind of the channel through which you can also collect the information for your topic for the research purpose. So the number four, use indexes to final periodical articles. So this is another one technique through which you can also make your research more refined. Number five, use addition internet sources to find out the answer of the questions. Now it is obvious, every scholar, every person who want to make a research about a particular topic always remain in a search of to find relevant and also important and confident source of the information by which he can also seek the satisfactory answer. Number six, evaluate your findings. So basically, all kind of the information which is collected by different kind of the channels, maybe in a written form, maybe in a visual form, maybe in any form, must be evaluated. Definitely, all kind of the information is not necessary at the possible to write at this spot, but also now the selective part of the information can also be accommodated and can also be seek for the support of your research work, because we should also distinguish between what is relevant and what is irrelevant, what is most important and what is least important, because by going through this process we can also discriminate what is required and what is required to omit for the research topic. So number 7, cite what you find using a standard format. So now it is the question that the information which is already available must be used in a very sensible way. If confident kind of the information is also available for you and you are unable to use all kind of the work as the purpose of the references in a standing way or in a effectively, so it means that your research process can remain defective. So these are the steps and these are the basic important steps to make the research process easy and effective. So there is a some component which are also important to make this research work more crucial and more important and more relevant and more more effective. So now definitely there is a lot of the information is also required to prove the logic. So select the components of the research process. Number 1, select the topic. Number 2, review the literature. And number 3, developing your theoretical and conceptual framework. Number 4, clarifying your research questions. And number 5, developing a research design. Number 6, collecting data. Number 7, analyzing the data. And finally, you must draw conclusion in a form of the output. So this is a process of the research through which you can also make your research process more pure and more relevant and more effective. So now the second important steps of the writing, which is also generally considered as the organizing. The process of the organizing is a process in which data will be structured and represented. So this process does not change the data itself but modifies the way it is structured and represented. The structuring part of organizing is the process that arranges the data in a specific and a logical way. So there is a method to organize the data. While collecting data, whether qualitative or quantitative, we can use several tools such as surveys, focus groups, interviews and questionnaires. We can use charts and graphics, pictures to organize data. So we can organize data by centralization, structuring and partitioning. Organizing data in a report can be written by using 5 important steps. Now the first step is that executive summary, background, findings, conclusion and finally recommendations. So you must keep in mind formats of the report while writing or organizing the data. Number 1, title. In this part of the report, the name of the author and data of the report preparation should be included. Number 2, summary. This is a need to be a summary of the major points, conclusion and recommendations. And now the number 3 is the introduction. The first part of the report need to have an introduction, and number 4, main body of the report. This part is the central part of the report, which consists of the comprehensive detail about the findings, methodology, and all kind of the communications, all kind of the discussions. So how the composing of a report is another part of the writing techniques. So you should follow some important rules and the steps while composing a report. In the first step, you must decide on terms of the references. Number 2, decide on procedures. Number 3, find the information. Number 4, decide on the structure. Number 5, draft on the first part of the report. Analyze your findings and draw conclusion. So make recommendation, draft the executive summary, and table of the contents must be included in a written form. So the parts of the report is also important, because important part must be included in the report. Formal report contains 3 major components. The first component is the title page, cover letter, table of the contents, table of the illustration, and an abstract or the executive summary. The text of the report is core and contains an introduction, discussion, and recommendation of the conclusion. So the structure of a report is typically structure of the report is often referred to as IMRAD, which is abbreviated for introductions, M for method, R for result, and D for discussion. So as reports often begins with an abstract, the structure may also be referred to an IMRAD, because this is the important part of the writer of the report. So as a whole, the writing a report, it must write and must be follow rules of the writing of a report, in which process of the research make it clear about the sources of the authenticity and methodology of the collecting data. Then in the organizing section, it must play a role as a separate from relevant and irrelevant, important and unimportant. So in the conclusive part for writing a report must follow rule of writing of a report, because definitely when you are writing something in a form of the report may be business report and may be formal and the informal report, because for writing any kind of the report you must go through from the specific process. The first process is the researching, and second one is the organizing, and third one is the composing, because every technique, every rule has its own modalities and its specification, because definitely you must follow all kind of the process to writing any kind of the report. So for the effective writing of the report, you must follow all these 3 steps of the writing. Thank you so much.